Hello, everybody, and welcome to some more BSL action. I am Naokin. Joining me is Gypsy. Feels like we just started the round of 24, yet here we are in the round of 8, and we've got two really sick matchups coming at us. We've got a Terran versus Protoss first, Terra versus Boa, and then we've got Avi-Love versus kogeT. So two superstars from EU battling off versus each other.
Yeah, well, Naokin, it feels like forever since I've sat down and talked to you, but it's only been 1 week, and now we're already in the quarterfinals. Well, no, yeah, quarterfinals. That's round of 16. Wait, what? Yeah? No, there's 8 people, but that's quarterfinals. Okay, dude. But the first game actually is going to be Avi-Love versus kogeT, apparently. So we'll get into the TVZ first, and then we'll have Terra versus Boa. Both these matchups today are going to be really exciting. And really, anyone could come out on top. I was watching Terra's stream the other day, and he was people were asking him, how do you feel about the BSL draw or whatever, the group draw, or rather the brackets. And he was like, I think everyone on this side of the bracket is quite happy to be on this side of a bracket because it means that, any one of these players can make a run to the finals. So this was out of Terra's mouth, not mine. Okay, I'm not flaming anyone. But the point is, it is an exciting day because literally anyone could come out on top.
Yeah, we've got two Terran players, one Protoss, and one Zerg player. Avi-Love versus kogeT, that should be interesting because I don't remember much about his Zerg versus Terran. I'm trying to think, did he even play Zerg versus Terran in his groups? No, in round of 16 he did not play any Zerg versus Terran. In round of 24 he didn't play Zerg versus Terran either. It was all Zergs and all Protosses for him. So we're gonna have to see how he's gonna be able to stand up versus someone like kogeT, who's just really, really sick in TVZ and can pull out anything. He can pull out Goliath back when really I don't remember people playing Goliath. And then of course we know he's really, really good with his race, so that's always going to be a threat to him. Now, last week we saw kogeT or Avi-Love versus Protoss players, so I think if he can make through kogeT, he's got a good shot because his Zerg versus Protoss looked absolutely bonkers versus Oyaji. And then in our other matchup, as you mentioned, we've got Terra versus Boa, and Terra, he looked really good last week, even with that crazy Gold Rush game versus Dandy, but of course Boa is looking strong also.
Yeah. I mean, all of these players are looking really strong that have made it into the quarterfinals. Again, we were talking about how it's basically the same group of people that we had last tournament, except the newcomers in Terra and True Touch. Actually, Avi-Love as well. So there's 3 different people here, but we have like the same race distribution. But in any case, all these players have been playing real well. You can see the bottom side of the bracket is insane. That's going to be tomorrow, DeWalt Bonnet, True Touch Oya, so definitely some crazy matchups already in the quarterfinals. But yeah, like you said today, Terra versus Boa, Avi-Love versus kogeT, and honestly, both, like, all of these matchups can go either way. Now, looking at kogeT versus Avi-Love, of course, both having quite storied history in BSL. Avi-Love kind of a bit more low-key as a player. You don't really hear people talk about him when they talk about top Europeans, but the reality is that he has been a top European for a long time. You can see his BSL results. He's always in the tournament. He always places respectably. Of course, not as successful as kogeT has been. Of course, kogeT highlight is that second place in BSL Season 4, which I think he lost in the finals to Dandy. But, Avi-Love definitely a bit of an underdog here. I will have to say, the last time we saw his ZVT was actually versus Medinho in the previous BSL, where he lost. So we'll have to see how he's prepared here. But, very strong player. So honestly, he could come out on top.
Yeah, so it looks like our first map is going to be Polypoid. you know, I'm someone that always talks about how strong walls are in particular matchups. In TVC, it's definitely very strong. And if kogeT gets bottom right, as I mentioned, this guy can pull out any build. It can be Goliath behind a wall. It can be Wraith behind a wall. It can be bio play. You've got to be very, very careful versus this guy, especially if he does end up getting bottom right. And I have just been informed that our players are ready. So let's get into our first game of the day. It is going to be Avi-Love versus kogeT in the round of 8. All right, in the top right, we have our Terran player from Poland. It is kogeT.
And in the bottom right, we have the Zerg player from Denmark. It is Avi-Love. Of course, fun fact, kogeT is living currently in Denmark as well. Natively from Poland. But Avi-Love, critically Danish.
I didn't know that kogeT was in Denmark. So that is a bit interesting. And, you know, they're both in EU, so I imagine that when they play ladder, they get each other quite often. So, of course, there could be mind games going on. As I talked about, kogeT loves walls, but this position at top right is one of the positions that absolutely you cannot wall wall your natural. Now, of course, he can wall his main, but that's a bit strange on this particular map.
Yeah.
So because of that, I think that already eliminates Wraith play, but we could, I guess, potentially see that. Looks like the first depot is right next to the command center, so I don't expect to see a forward barracks. I'm curious what Avi-Love is going to do in response, because he does have bottom right, so he knows that kogeT can't be there. There's going to be, all the other positions really aren't that great for walls, so I wonder what his choice. Oh, there is a somewhat forward barracks, but not in position for a wall.
But it is going to be a gas, actually 12 gas here. Surprising. Because this really, without a wall, I can't believe we're talking so much about this wall in TVZ, but without a wall, it can be a bit risky to go for this factory. Definitely, it's not going to be a 2-port or anything like that, because with a 2-port, you definitely need a wall. But when you're going 1-1-1 in this matchup, the early game can be extremely difficult for Terran, because Zerg can throw a lot of things at this type of build, notably even Zerglings with like mass ling speed, basically. And it takes a lot of solid micro on the Terran's half to survive. But kogeT, this is his type of build.
Yeah, well, I am paying close attention to the gas. It looks like it has kind of tapered off now. Just sitting at 12. He's not continuing to mine any more gas. It's going all straight into minerals. So he's going to be taking his command center relatively quickly. Now, this is something that you don't see often these days. Avi-Love, no gas at his main just yet. He instead is going to opt into 3-hatch play. Now, this could be as a result of just scouting kogeT last. If he had have gotten off a faster scout, maybe he would have gone into 2-hatch play. But it doesn't seem like Avi-Love, in my experience, is the type of player to go for 2-hatch quite often. So I'm not surprised with this result.
Oh.
Now, I'm curious. Oh, the drone falls, which is not a huge deal, but you never like to have that happen. And that's what I was wondering is, where's the 3rd hatch going to go? Because versus a gas opener, you can build this on location. It can be done, because the Vulture just doesn't have the DPS. So this is a common spot too, and it will allow him to wall off his natural very well. And in response, I don't expect to see many Vultures from kogeT.
Generally, when you see a Terran pull off everything off of gas after the factory, it's indicative of a mech follow-up. Most of the time, you know, if you're going 1-on-1, you still want to have that 1 SCV mining the gas to allow you to get a nice starport timing and everything. So I'd be surprised if here we see an armor. Yeah, there you go. That's the armory from kogeT. And to be honest, I actually don't really, you know, here's the thing, 1-on-1 rose in popularity, mostly because it's extremely strong versus 3-hatch. Because ling speed comes so late, because the tech comes so late from the Zerg player, Terran can kind of get their economy going really nicely and get their tech up really fast. And the 1-on-1 can represent a tremendous amount of builds. And actually, because of the 1-on-1 that we do see a predominantly 2-hatch meta today, And I would say that mech, I would say that 3-hatch is actually a bit better versus mech. It's like a favorable build order, I think. This is a Hydralisk then, though, before the lair.
Yeah, I was watching. I was like, okay, where's this guy's lair? Because I know he's been mining gas for a while, and he just simply never built the lair. Instead, it looks like he's going for speed first. And this should already be alarm bells for kogeT, especially since he's... Oh, he can see the links popping even, so he knows exactly what's going on. And this is probably going to be like 20 links coming at him pretty quickly. There's no bunker. There's no depot wall. He's trying to set up a... now he's trying to set up a bunker, but that is so far forward. I think it needs to be tucked away right next to that command center. The vulture gets surrounded, and that's gone. And this might just be game over.
That's so weird. The tank as well is an interesting choice, to say the least. It's not really going to help with these links, but the linebackers get pulled. There's one Marine at least. There's two Marines in that bunker. Goliath is out though, so I think he's actually going to hold this comfortably well. Surprisingly, that was looking really scary for Terran. He does lose that tank, which is obviously expensive, but at the same time, do you really want to get, you know, versus early Hydralisks like this, if you're going with the Goliath build or some kind of Goliath opening, it's almost better to just make a lot of Goliaths and rely on this bunker and the Goliaths. Like, the siege mode is very expensive, and even getting a tank is very expensive just to defend against the Hydralisks. So it was kind of weird to see that. The machine shop is spinning though, and I can only imagine that that is for siege mode, because, I mean, what else are you going to get in this position? You're not going to get Goliath range. You just saw that Zerg had no lair and has a Hydralisk. Then yeah, there we go, that's the tank. So he is going to go for the siege mode regardless. Looks like he's going to be pretty safe against this. It's only 6-7 Hydralisks, so not too threatening. And behind this, Avi-Love is droning, so he was representing an extremely aggressive build. Unfortunately for Avi-Love though, those early lings did absolutely nothing, and you know, it cost him a lot. That was what, close to a control group of lings, if not more, plus the ling speed. And behind that, he also made a couple of Hydralisks. So honestly, the Zerg's economy isn't quite where it would want to be at this point.
Yeah, he did make something like 20 Zerglings, so really that's at least 10 or so that you do not want to have built. Now, this is where it becomes interesting, because we're in the part of the game where Zerg can pump out mass Hydras, and it's similar to ZVP, where Terran doesn't know what Zerg is doing. This could be, sure, he sees 7, but there could be just more Hydras waiting in the shadows somewhere. So, we've got a bio switch. It looks like this is going to be 2 fact with 3 to 4 barracks follow-up. I didn't see the academy timing. Okay, it just now finishes, so his stem's going to be coming in pretty soon. Looks like +1 weapon has already been up and going. And back in the main of Avi-Love, his lair, I'm pretty sure, is done. Yeah, and Spire is more than halfway done, but because he didn't build that many Hydras in the early stages, he's going to have access to so many mutas. This may catch kogeT completely off guard. I also didn't see scanners. Okay, there's the scanners. So yeah, he definitely needs to scan and get turrets up, because right now, his anti-air defense is 3 Goliaths, and that's it.
Yeah, and this is a lot of tanks, and, you know, he did get siege mode, so it's very unlikely that he does have Goliath range. And this is going to be really good for the Zerg player, though. This is the type of build that I would say it's extremely hard to play versus as a Zerg player. One is that it's not a build that you commonly see. So, and not just that, but also it's the army composition that Terran gets from this, like Goliath, Marine, Medic, and tanks, is actually ridiculously cost efficient. And really, as a Zerg player, you just need to overwhelm it with numbers. So, but because you never play against this, it's kind of hard to know exactly how much you can drone, how much you can get away, and how many units you need to actually defend. Now, that being said, Avi-Love does have the tools that he needs to, you know, do damage at his disposal. Like, basically, he can stay on these Mutalisks for a really long time. There's no starport, there's no vessels coming. It is going to be Goliath, Marine, Medic, though, so they can deal quite well with the Mutalisks. We'll have to see, actually. This is a, you know, I saw Flash use this build not too long ago against Soma, literally a couple days ago, so most likely that was, I'm sure kogeT has seen that game, and that's his inspiration for this build. This timing here is quite strong, but it is pushing out at 9:30. You can see Zerg is going to have a lot of units.
Well, Zerg may have the ability to make a lot of units, but half of his hatcheries are, center of the map and bottom left. It's gonna be hard for him to be able to get actual use out of 2 of these hatches. You can see he's trying to spam sunken colonies, but we know that these tanks already have siege mode, and the fact that he's just kind of banking up these mutas makes me think that he's gonna just try and overwhelm with mass muta. But with Goliath standing there for support, and with Marines and medics with stim and range, I'm not too sure if this is gonna work. Obviously the sunkens are not gonna work, and I don't see him stopping this.
Yeah, here comes kogeT though, but he doesn't really have too many units. This is less than a control group of Marines. And this composition is really good, but look at how many Mutalisks there are, and there's Hydralisks in the back flanking the tanks. These Mutalisks are just standing on top of the Marine Goliath medic force, and this is exactly what I was talking about, Nyokin, where, yeah, I mean, this composition looks really nice from Terran, but pushing out a 930 is quite early for Terran to have a significant ball. And he just didn't have that many units. Now, the reinforcements might do a decent amount of work because this is like a control group of Marines, but there's still a control group of Mutalisks left. Now he can start actually microing these Mutalisks, doesn't need to just A-move, and they can pick off these Marines. And back at Terran's base, really what's the big deterrent to Mutalisks ultimately is like a starport, right? Like science vessels, even Valkyries. But it's nowhere near done. The starport, well, I mean, it's almost done, but vessels are a long way off at this point. So these Mutalisks from Avi-Love can buy him even more time. This is like a control group and a half of Marines. That's nowhere near enough to deal with +1 Carapace Mutalisks. He probably has like 24 Mutalisks there. Not gonna take that fight though, because it still looks scary. Goliath Marine medic, but look behind this, Avi-Love, he's getting his Queen's Nest. He's got a bunch of lurkers. Zerg's in a really good spot here.
Yeah, just not waiting for critical mass, and then also the Marines getting in the front just allowed them to get just absolutely crushed. As you mentioned, I think that it was just a little bit too fast of a move out, so I don't think he would have held it regardless. Anyways, kogeT is building up a sizable army. He's moving in for another attack. Now, if these are on hold position, this is going to get so... I think that was a missed opportunity there. But he does kill some regardless. Now, those Mutalisks are just hanging around the left side of the map. I thought for sure they may try and go for a backstab, but yeah, there he is. He's going to try and go for a backstab now. And now, is Avi-Love overextended? Because the lurkers are going to get picked off. Only lurkers are morphing at the natural, and as we mentioned, there are tanks in this army.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to see. Losing those lurkers, he lost like 3 lurkers. Does hurt, but these Mutalisks can catch all the reinforcements off. There is 2 control groups of them. I really think like Avi-Love kind of slight missed opportunity with these Mutalisks, because they definitely could have been microed. Like you don't need to just A-move them around. They could have picked off a lot of Marines. There's not too many Goliaths to shoot you down as you come in, especially with +1 Carapace. I don't think these... I actually wonder what the mech upgrades are. But here comes kogeT. Okay, 1 armor. Yeah, that's really strong. kogeT is stimming in. Lurkers do go down. Avi-Love not quite in position. The Mutalisks coming now. That's a lot of Mutalisks in conjunction with the Hydra Lurker composition coming on top of this Terran ball. Still, the Terran units do get some nice trades, but ultimately, this Terran attack is going to be thwarted. And behind this, I mean, Avi-Love is on 4 base economy. He's got a bunch of hatcheries. Terran is running in more units that are just dying left, right, and center. And honestly, looking at the supply at the end of this, Terran is behind 20 supply. Ultralisk Cavern coming. He does have +1 Carapace. Oh man, Terran's in a lot of trouble right now.
Yeah, Terran is in big time trouble. The secondary attack does not get a killing move, and that's really what kogeT needed, because supply lead was for Avi-Love at the beginning of that fight. He was up something like 4 or 5 supply. Not sizable, but any supply lead versus Terran is going to be great for the Zerg. You can see that he did scan the Ultralisk Cavern, so he knows he has to play defensive. He needs to get his upgrades up ASAP, and there's more macro hatches from Avi-Love. He's been on 4 bases for quite a long time, so he has access to so many resources. This 3rd base is going to be spotted. There's no defense right now, so he's going to be able to ransack this SCV line. And look at this, 25 to 30 supply lead for Avi-Love at this point, and this is before even building any Ultralisk.
Yeah, I mean, the Ultralisks, though, I feel like they are going to be behind on the armor upgrade. Yeah, obviously that's a ticking time bomb anyway, so kogeT is doing a good job of expanding behind this. He does have a second armory, so it looks like he's gonna go double armory, though he also has double starport. I'm not sure. Yeah, he is pumping double vessels here. I was gonna say, is he gonna commit to making more vessels, or is he gonna commit to making tanks? It looks like he's doing both, so somehow he does have the resources for everything. I wonder if that's because maybe he's skipping the eBay upgrades as well. It's kind of surprising to see him be able to afford all this. These mutalisks are going to get a lot of damage on top of the SCVs, though. At this 12 o'clock, kogeT stimming a couple Marines to defend, but you know, the damage is done. You can see kogeT's economy is in tatters. I mean, in his main, he's not even mining really. He's got like 3 SCVs there. His natural mine, I don't know what that's looking like, but Zerg's like just so far ahead at this point.
Yeah, I don't really know what kogeT can do. He's got the upgrades. He's got double armory going. He's got +2 weapon going for his Marines. But the econ advantage for Avi-Love is massive. He can start thinking about taking 5th, 6th bases. He can even consider taking bases on kogeT side of them if he wanted, and actually force kogeT to fight. Look at this muta harassment. It's killing so many SCVs. He doesn't even care about these mutas either. This is just dead supply at this point, really. One vessel with a radiate could eliminate the majority of them, so really he's just doing as much damage as possible, and there are those vessels. He's trying to size up that irradiate. Looks like, yep, there's the first one, there's the second one. That's going to be goodbye mutalisks, but these mutalisks have already done so much damage. Look at the supply lead. That's something you don't see every day. 180 to 125 in Zerg versus Terran.
Yeah. Surprise! Like for Zerg to be maxed at 16 minutes, you know, usually around this time, Zerg's like struggling to get Ultralisks out, and Terran's around, say, what, like 160 supply, 150, whatever, and Zerg's around 100 supply. So to be in this position as Zerg, where you're up supply on the Terran, basically, if Zerg ever gets ahead in supply in this matchup, they're winning significantly. You know, unless we're talking about like ultra late game, like split map where Terran has like a infinity tanks. But if it's ever this type of game state, then yeah, I mean, Terran's in a world of hurt. That being said, though, kogeT does have a decent amount of tanks. He does have a decent amount of vessels. But you know, you just need a bit more supply to be able to fight Zerg. We'll have to see what he can make happen with this, though. Avi-Love is not even choosing to fight this. Okay, no, he is going for mega flank on top of all the Terran units just surrounding him. The siege mode does come in. Ultralisk speed is not quite done, but they do have armor, and they're in the front tanking, and now more lings coming in from the side with adrenal upgrades, and the, oh my god, it's just absolute destruction.
Yeah, that was just a dismantling, really. Avi-Love macroing like a god. The mutas, I thought, were not going to work, but there was actually a backstab with the Hydras to keep the Marines from reinforcing, and without the reinforcements, didn't have the critical mass that you were talking about, and then Avi-Love expanded like a madman behind it. He had 4 gases up and running when kogeT moved out, so really kogeT had to do critical damage right there, otherwise he was doomed. And you can see the result of letting Avi-Love get 4 bases pretty much for free. He will take advantage. He will be up 50 supply. So in this matchup, I was kind of just already considering kogeT moving into the next round because that's how strong his Terran versus Zerg is. But Avi-Love showing that his macro last week versus Oyuji was no fluke. He's turning it on.
Yeah, Avi-Love is playing really well in general right now. So again, not too surprising to me. I feel like really any player can make it out of this series. And this game here is kind of proving that, you know, well, we'll have to see. kogeT did choose to go for kind of like an unorthodox strategy, I would say. And these builds, like, they're very, very narrow on the timing, because, you know, when you go for a tech build as Terran, you sacrifice a lot of your production in favor of this army composition advantage, right? Like whether it's more vessels, more tanks from like a 1-1-1 perspective. In this case, it was 2 factory with Goliath, Marine, Medic. The concept behind that is that, you know, I'm not gonna have as good of an econ. I'm not gonna have as many barracks as I should, like as I would have. I'm not gonna have as many units, but I'm gonna have this sick timing where my army composition just wrecks whatever Zerg has. But if you miss that timing, Well, guess what? Behind that, Zerg has 4 bases with full macro going because they were preparing for like a mech type play. I mean, that's kind of the drawback of going for tech, really, is if your initial push doesn't work, that's it. You know, so Avi-Love definitely capitalizing that game. kogeT game 2, we'll have to see what map he chooses to pick.
Yeah, I'm remembering just now that basically the initial stages of the game went about as bad as it's going to go for you as Avi-Love. Remember, he lost his first drone.
Yeah.
Then the SCV stayed alive while lings were being built and the hydrogen was being built. So he saw everything that was happening. And then his ling attack did nothing. It killed one tank, which is damage. However, I don't think he killed a single SCV, so the econ from kogeT was not hurt at all. Yet still, Avi-Love still held the attack, still had 4 bases behind it. So just really, really insane play from him on our first map on Polyploid. Now it looks like our second map is going to be Blade Runner. And we are already ready. So let's just get into our second game, see if Avi-Love can go up to a quick 2-0 lead. All right, in the top right, our red Terran player, it is kogeT.
And in the bottom left, in the blue, Zerg. It is Avi-Love.
Mihai, is this our first Zerg versus Terran on here?
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, I think it is. And this map, we were talking about how it has the whiteout features where when you're in the center of the map, you really can't see much, but that has not been a factor in any of the games we've seen so far. So this might be the first time we actually get to see how useful this lack of vision is, obviously for the Zerg player, because what you think, but because this is Blade Runner, you can wall all of the bases, at least in the main. So this may be a 2-port wraith map for kogeT.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Looking at this map, I mean, I'm not sure. This can be a good map for both races, honestly. Obviously, we just haven't seen any games on here of this matchup. So really, everything is kind of up in the air now. We saw last week, Quark actually walled this entrance off with 1 gate. So I'd be curious to see if maybe that 1 Rax walls off the ramp almost, and maybe he's going well. You can see kogeT is getting gas behind this. So if this walls, which it might, the only problem here for Terran is obviously the Marines pop out on the other side. So he is going to have to make at least 1 Marine lift the racks to have that 1 Marine on the inside in case lings ever come. But this is, looking like 2-port wraith. I can't imagine it being anything else. kogeT is very kind of famous in a sense for whipping out the 2-port wraith. Yeah, and this is tight. This is actually tight. He's trying to get a scout out onto the map. Drone comes in, and you know, if I'm Avi-Love, I'm looking at this, I'm straight away thinking 2-port wraith.
Yeah, that's also what I would be thinking. And look at this, 3 hatch before pool. I was wondering why Avi-Love ended up going for a super fast scout, and this is going to be a really good counter to what kogeT is doing. This means that Avi-Love just definitely is reading the player, because versus no one else would you probably ever end up going for a 3 hatch before pool like this. And he must already be expecting the 2-port wraith too. Now we see that kogeT has pulled off of gas. So unfortunately for Avi-Love, this is not going to be, you know, a 2-port wraith build. However, getting away with 3 hatch, you're never feeling too bad about that. And I wonder what kogeT is going to transition into now, because we already saw the Goliath play really not work out, and kogeT is kind of the guy that I expect him to just pull out multiple builds, not go for the same build twice in a row. Yeah,
and to be honest, on a map like this that's this big, because even the rush distance, I'm assuming between like something like top right and top left, because of the assimilate or whatever the generators in front. You know, the rush distances on this map, they're pretty big, even cross spawns. So even if it's not cross spawns, rather. So if you're Terran and you're going for like factory expand like this, The Marine is going to get inside. That's so funny. You don't see this every day because obviously the pool is so late from Avi-Love. Now, he doesn't want to lose any drones, though, that's for sure. Yeah, this is going to... Zerg basically is going to have a lot of space here to surge ahead economically, and that's the one drawback from this factory expand is that, you know, because the map is so big... Oh my god, this SCV and the Marines. I can't finish my thought, Nyoke, and I'm just trying to explain this concept, but looks like kogeT...
Ooh, he ends up saving that drone. I thought for sure kogeT was going to get at least one drone. Oh, that moving shot. Oh, he got the one that was low earlier. Just hit him with a jab and takes one out. So if I was Avi-Love at that point, I'm probably getting speed or Hydra range or something. Oh, man, he built a Hydrogen at his natural, and because he's not able to take down the SCV, it gets spotted. Now, I guess kogeT is reading this well also because... he, I guess, suspects, like, okay, I know that you know that this looks like 2-port Wraith, so I'm not going to go for 2-port Wraith. We do see first Vulture is coming out. I thought that this was going to be for speed, but with the Sim City set up how it is, this could be for mines. And with that would be a good choice because of the trees in the center of the map. Lack of vision, if Hydras try to just move across, could eat a mine and take tons and tons of damage. So I like this follow-up from kogeT.
Yeah. I mean, it is a strong follow-up, but, you know, he's going mech. He's going like a factory expand against a 3-hatch before pool Zerg on very long rush distances. So Zerg has so much space, again, economically, to just boom up that, you know, at least if Terran in this situation goes delayed mech, right, in terms of racks expanding first and then getting the gas afterwards, then the econ there for Terran is insane as well, and they can kind of contest this. Oh. Wow, that one mine does get picked off, yeah.
Yeah, I can't believe that didn't
Don't you hate when that happens?
Trying to debate it. Oh, he gets another one! Somehow, the Vulture doesn't get targeted. Now it's just going to go down in the natural, but it did see that gas is up and running, so he may be suspecting that this is going to be a Spire switch. Evolution Chamber, I don't think, got spotted, so nothing tips him off to this being mass Hydras. Now this could be Hydra Lurker since he has the second gas, but I'm not too sure.
He has speed already on the Hydra, so that's already telling. But you know, Avi-Love likes getting speed just to be defensive with it. He's not going to push across the map. Of course, Terran, when you see this speed, this early speed, you have to be a bit wary because that can represent a very aggressive play. Drone does go down, and to be honest, like it is an expensive upgrade. You know, like. I mean, wow, he already has a lair and a Spire, though, so really the 3-hatch before pool is giving him a lot, and kogeT's just doing the same build.
Oh, I'm surprised that he's going for the same thing, but I guess he's decided that this is going to be his build of choice versus someone like Avi-Love, and I don't think that's a bad choice because going into this particular game, I was thinking, okay, what have I seen Avi-Love really go for? Most of the time, it's just straight Ultra. And when it's not Ultra, it ends up being some type of Hydra play. So right. I think that this is like just a direct counter to it. You build Mass Tank with Marine Medic. How do you actually kill this army? But we saw it last game. The answer is you build some Hydras and then Mass Mutalisks. Now this time around, there's no Overlord in position spotting for anything. Also, the mines looks kind of weird.
Yeah. The thing, though, Nyoke, I feel like about this build that kogeT's doing is it's really specifically designed to deal with 2-hatch Mutalisks. Like, if you look at what it does, you get 2 factories early, 2-fact Goliath, which we know is like very stable actually versus Mutalisk opening. And then when the Zerg kind of chooses to remain on Mutalisks, which they often do against the Goliath opening, because transitioning into Hydralisks is a bit of a pain. You know, it's a lot more resources. Then you come in with the extra racks, and then the Goliath plus Marine timing before Lurkers come out for Zerg can be extremely strong. But this game, and last game, Avi-Love doesn't even want to go 2-hatchery. Now I know he is a fan, as you said, of the ultra of the crazy Zerg style. He does go 2-hatchery Mutalisks into Ultralisks quite a bit, that I remember. But this 3-hatch style, especially when you're 3-hatch before pool, narrows down the Terran's timing so much because of the economic boost that Zerg already has. I honestly, I don't see this build working at all. I actually think he's just going to get wrecked going across the map.
Well, kogeT is thinking about moving pretty soon because he's got pretty much 5 tanks once those 2 pop out, and he's got 5 racks production behind it. I haven't seen a single lurker being morphed this entire time. Looks like there's Overlord Speed trying to see what's going on, and now he sees that this is going to be basically the same thing as last game, but this time kogeT's going to have critical mass, and this time kogeT didn't have to build 500 turrets. Sure, Zerg is going to have 1-1. I think +1 weapon is already done. But with the ability to just pop out pure tanks out of these 2 factories, this is not the comp you want going up against Marine Medic tank. Definitely not pure Hydras.
Well, it's not going to be pure Hydras. He is going to have a couple of lurkers apparently coming in here. Again, yeah, this timing is going to be tight, so maybe that's not... maybe the Gypsy prediction is totally off. But he does have double Evo Chamber. So if this Carapace upgrade also kicks in along with the +1 attack, lurkers finish, this is such a tight timing for Terran. You can see more Hydras spawning. Is he going to intercept this before he gets set up? Lurkers are going to get burrowed, but really they take the brunt of these Marine hits, but the Hydralisks are just so strong. You can see, I mean, the siege tanks weren't siege. Maybe if they were siege there, it would have made a difference, but just so much Zerg, and behind this he's got what, like 5 to 6 hatcheries with double Evo chamber going in Hydra Lurk style. Oh my, I mean, you know, kogeT does have 2 factories going, but he does have a wasted upgrade in that plating upgrade. Like it does nothing for him, and I mean, this is a tough spot to be in again as Terran.
I thought for sure that once kogeT got to that entrance point that Zerg was just going to get funneled, because how are they ever going to get out? So I think that was the only engagement time that Avi-Love really could have gone for, and he overwhelmed kogeT so easily. All of those Marines falling was definitely the difference maker. If the Goliaths had led the charge and the Marine medics could have just dealt out all the DPS in the back, that could have looked like a completely different fight. I'm surprised that kogeT didn't even siege at all. It felt like that was a missed opportunity too, but still his supply is relatively high. It's 105 to 85. He is still down 2 bases already. It looks like this time he's going to start going for some drop play. He did scan and realize that there is no Spire anywhere. Oh, there is a Spire, but there's no Mutalisk really anywhere. So as long as he can avoid the Scourge, this should be able to get in and deal a decent chunk of damage. Now, I wonder if Avi-Love actually has the drop upgrade, because he already has speed upgrade, triple evolution chamber even, going down for Avi-Love at the natural.
Yeah, well, this 3rd evolution chamber, you want to start working on that melee upgrade, mostly for the lings, really. I mean, Ultralisks do a decent amount of damage even without without upgrades. Yeah, drop coming in here from kogeT. Does have to get a lot of damage. That's just 1 Marine in the natural. The rest are going to get unloaded in the main, but honestly, Hydralisks, thing is, drops are, they're like good against Hydras in a sense. You know, I mean, the traditional idea is that Hydras don't do well against drops because really you don't have a Spire to have Scourge. But the reality is that like Hydralisks are really strong versus drops because they can contest the Marines. It's not like, you know, normally you would have to send maybe a lot of lings, and if they don't get a good engagement, they just die. Or you'd have to send them in conjunction with lurkers. But when you have Hydra, like well upgraded Hydras, you just box a couple Hydras, move them, and intercept the drop, and they trade really well against the Marines, especially if there's only 1 medic in the drop. So swiftly dealt with that one, and now here comes a push across the center of the map. There's no flying units here for, okay, the vessel does come in time, so kogeT is going to have a spotter. That's a lot of tanks, but I mean, Avi-Love, I mean, that is a lot of tanks.
Yeah, it's like 12 tanks, and it's a 30 supply lead now for kogeT, so this is going to be round 2, and he's falling so far back that this may again be another opportunity for kogeT to just sit outside of those generators. And then really, how can Avi-Love make a good engagement? He's going to have to go all the way around the side, and that's something that you don't want to see. Queens are up, but they don't have 150 energy, so kogeT has a minute window to just kind of deal as much damage as he possibly can. There's no way that Avi-Love can engage this army. Look how many tanks there are.
Yeah, well, Avi-Love does have to somehow make some time here, though. kogeT is taking a lot of time to be pushing. You can see he's sieging, unsieging quite a bit, and the queens are getting up to 150 energy quite fast. There are 125 already, but that is only 4 queens, so that's only 4 tanks that'll be killed, and really there's going to be at least 8 left over or something like that. kogeT definitely has a lot of units here. Avi-Love is going to go and try and pick off the 4 tanks. Thing is, Marines can't really engage, but I mean, with this arc they can, though. Lurkers will pick off that 1 tank. The D-Matrix was clutched by kogeT, and really that's another nice trade for Terran, but at the same time, you can see Zerg is kind of creeping up in supply as well. That is a lot of minerals, though, unfortunately for Avi-Love, so a lot of missed units at this point. And here come a couple broodlings. He can stall this game out, and if Avi-Love does stall this game out and reduces the tank count, he's going to be a really good spot, but can he?
There's so many tanks still behind this. Now, this may be a little bit overextended. There are 2 more queens that have energy. He's going to pop these 3 tanks in the back, and I think this is really all he needed to do, because now he can broodling 2 more tanks behind that, and he has so many hatches. He has like 9 hatches in his left side of the map. He's got so much production. Lings are starting to pop out. They're going to have upgrades too. Remember, he has triple evolution chamber. But this is going to be a funnel, and this is going to be the best engagement that kogeT could actually ask for. Look at this. These units cannot get out of the base. The tanks are in. The Marines and medics are just massacring everything.
Yeah, Avi-Love, I feel like he felt pressure into pushing out there, but he can just wait. You know, it's not... He's actually in a fine spot. I mean, the problem is obviously Terran is expanding behind this, but Avi-Love has bottom right now. He probably is going to have Hive at some point with the Nidus Canal. Okay, double Ultralisk Cavern. So, you know, Avi-Love is in a good spot. He just needs to... Oh, that was a Parasite, actually, not a Broodling. Or, I don't know, maybe he Broodling both tanks there, or both queens on 1 tank, but... Yeah, Avi-Love, all he has to do is just live.
Yeah, if he survives, he's going to be in a fine position, but, I mean, Terran's right here, and it can even siege this mineral only. It's not like kogeT's going to sit here and wait for the queens to regen energy again. He's going to pounce on this 3rd base. This is going to be the mineral only going down. This is going to be 2 hatches going down. The tanks are supporting it also, so there's no engagement opportunity for Avi-Love either. That looks like that's going to be Lings and Ultras most likely, but... Look, the SimCity's going to backfire against Avi-Love now at the natural. He's going to have no units that's going to actually be able to get out of his base, and he realizes that popping the Hydrogen and the Sunken Colony, I don't know if Avi-Love can actually hold this.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I wonder, what are the upgrades on the tanks? Because that's pretty... +1. Okay, so not quite at that +2 break point that you've talked about, Nayokin, but 1-1 still pretty decent upgrades, obviously. These Ultras, once they get +2 Carapace from the Ultralisk Cavern, and he does have double Ultra Cavern, so they are going to get both upgrades. There is a chance here, but the reality is this is 2 factory tank already, so there's a lot of tanks to deal with the Ultras. Nice counterattack here with a couple of Lings by Avi-Love. You know, if he can interrupt this economy. The thing is, the Terran is getting quite clumped up here, and this is all he has. That's the only tanks he has. Avi-Love is not actually going to try and fight this. He's just going to counterattack with the Ultralisks instead, and I think that's... Well, I mean, it's the desperate situation for Zerg, but I'm not quite sure that he has to be this desperate.
Yeah, I don't think there is any hope of him busting it. It's so many tanks. You can see that all of these Lings and Hydras just get absolutely murdered. And with this base falling down and his Ultra counterattack not working out, this is going to be the end of Avi-Love in this particular game. You can see that he's trying to macro behind it. Another hatchery going down at his 4th base. But he's going to lose a ton of drones in his main also. Like, he just lost, or he's going to lose, something like 30 drones. So even though he still has 3 bases, he's going to have to rebuild that economy. Meanwhile, kogeT, he's got 4 bases. Look at his supply, 150 to 100. He's looking good. He's still got 2 fat tank production this entire game, not missing a beat. And this is really the only army that Avi-Love has left. 4, 5, 6 Ultras and a handful of Lings.
Yeah, well, these Ultras are going to come in here and clean up the Marines. You know, Ultras they're quite strong now. And I mean, the thing is, tanks don't... like tanks kill ultras, but only in really high numbers and only in like good terrain. You know, if the ultras can run at your tanks with the support of lings and hydralisks, they can actually deal with it quite well. But at this point, obviously Avi-Love, he's just starving for cash. I don't think he even has a Nidus really from his main base to bottom right or anywhere. So really Avi-Love in a desperate situation, but he is going to push out of here, and this isn't enough Terran units to hold this back. Those Ultralisks are just so insane. But this other Terran force, and yeah, there are most of kogeT's tanks sieging down this 6 o'clock like it's TVP almost. But, you know, they might die.
One of the Ultralisks are not able to clean up those 4 tanks, and then that base goes down. Looks like the main is going to go down. And with this main going down, really there's no hope for Avi-Love. Sure, 2 Ultras pop out. Now, something we didn't even mention yet is since those evolution chambers ended up falling, there's no +5 armor for the Ultras. They're still at +4. Meanwhile, Terran is at +2, so he's matching the upgrades of Zerg. If this was +5, it could have looked a little bit different, but because of the tank count being so high, don't think it really matters. This is probably going to be the last-ditch effort of Avi-Love. If he can push it back, maybe he can get this Nat base up and running, but look at how strong these Marines are. They're dealing so much damage to the Ultralists. They all fall down. All the Lings fall down. And this is going to be Avi-Love tapping out.
Yeah, so GG, well played there by kogeT. He is going to go up, or he's going to even out, up rather, the score 1-1. Yeah. I'm not quite sure what happened that game, to be honest with you. I feel like Zerg was in a really good spot, and he just lost. So,
well, it could have been the queen switch because queens are pretty expensive, and he built 5 of them. If they had been maybe like, what's it equal cost? Maybe like 15 more hydras, he may have been able to have enough. Because remember, his first attack with the lurkers just obliterated kogeT. I was surprised the lurkers did so well. And also maybe Avi-Love just built so many drones because every time we've looked at his bases, he's had like full saturation every single time. So maybe it was just a bit of a overzealous move building the expensive queens or overbuilding drones. But regardless, his early to mid game looks dangerously strong. He's consistently at least matching kogeT's production, which is surprising.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, you know, it was unfortunate because, of course, Zerg ended up with 3,000 minerals and very little gas. So, of course, that's partly a symptom of having a mineral-only expansion. But you would have to look at the replay and see where it was gas not being mined at any of the bases, and maybe Zerg went too quickly for the double Evo play. I think the economy could have been balanced out a bit better to where you can overwhelm that force with Hydra Lurker. Because again, he had such a massive like economic lead, but when you have all that surplus income that you can't spend, like it doesn't really matter. And then, yeah, I mean, against this type of Terran play, you really just need to make a lot of units. And like you said, Naokin, maybe the switch into queens didn't really help him. Sylphid is going to be the next map, though.
Yeah, so we've got Sylphid, and if there's going to be a Wraith map, this is going to be it. So maybe we will see kogeT whip it out, as Gypsy likes to say, or maybe we're going to continue to see the factory barracks build that we've ended up seeing twice in a row. Players are ready, so let's get into our third map, see who's going to take a 2-1 lead in the series. All right, in the top middle, our blue Zerg player, it is Avi-Love.
And in the bottom left, in the red Terran, it's kogeT.
Is this the time? Is this the time, Mihai, that we're going to see it? Are we going to see the 2-port Wraith, you think?
I don't know. I mean, kogeT is kind of a mind game player. He is definitely going to wall, though. He's
yes, 100%.
And he will wall, and he will make a gas.
Didn't we see kogeT earlier in the round of maybe it was 24, or maybe it was 16, where he played 2-port Wraith and then with a Valkyrie, right? Didn't we see that?
I don't know. This could have been last season as well. But Sylphid is the map that we've seen him play it the most on. I remember he actually played, I'm sure everyone remembers this, but he played that game versus Eon Zerg on this map with the 2-port Wraith. That was really, really close. Really sick game from last season. But Eon did he did manage to make a huge comeback in that game, which was sick. I don't know, Nayo. Can I be surprised if it's not? But I feel like given how much thought kogeT has put into opening with gas, where he knows, as a player, people know what you're doing, right? And kogeT is aware of the fact that he plays 2-port, and people know he plays 2-port. And when you open with gas every game and with a wall like this, you always have that option of mind gaming your opponent. Now, does it really change how the Zerg player is going to respond? I would say no, not in this matchup.
I think it's going to be 3-hatch again, because Avi-Love, he's going to know that this is definitely a well-known 2-port Wraith map for kogeT, so I wouldn't be surprised to see the 3-hatch before pool again, and that looks like that's going to be the case. Now look at this. Drone gets in, and even this subtle thing of just seeing the 2 SCVs on the gas for even a couple more seconds is going to let him know that this is going to be some type of 1 base build. Looks like kogeT is going to wall off. I expect the SCVs to go back on, but so far they aren't. I'm a bit surprised. Now this could be a mind game, as you were talking about, because we've seen kogeT pull off of gas completely in both of the games. Now you're talking about how when you continue to mine gas, this is going to be starport follow-up, so we'll see if that's going to be the case.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it's a 1 starport here. It would be a nice mix-up from kogeT from the previous games, and when the 1 Wraith comes in, Zerg's going to be panicking a bit. Oh, is this 2-port Wraith? But again, the reality is, Nayokin, Zerg doesn't necessarily need to change their build too drastically. Yeah, the add-on is quite interesting. I mean, this can't be a tank, so that's really only for something like Vulture Speed or Mines.
SCV gets in and sees that again. It's 2-hatch before pool, and if this is me, I'm already not happy. And that is a Vulture being made. We'll wait and see what the upgrade is going to be. Yeah, it has to be 1-1-1. But what's your thoughts on going up against Hydra Lurker with 1-1-1?
Well, my thoughts right now are that we went for Vulture Speed before Starport, which is really interesting. Starport is not even coming. So honestly, if Avi-Love did something like the Hydralisk Den opening that we've seen him do, and just ran Hydras into the natural, I just don't see Terran defending. Originally the theory behind this build is that you get Mines and Wraith to defend against Hydras, right? You just mine up the path, the Wraith clears the Overlords, you're safe. Now, when you skip your starport, you just go... Now, he only has Vultures to defend...
Uh-oh.
I don't know.
Is this Ling Man again? And yeah, this is going to be mine upgrade. I thought he canceled the speed upgrade to get
Overlord
mines.
Here.
Yeah, that's why I'm kind of confused by this, because the Lings are going to come out and they really shouldn't do much damage to this minefield and Marine. Well, I guess you can go around the bottom because there's no mine set up, but I think if you just A-move a couple of the Lings will trigger it. Can the Vultures intercept these Lings coming out? It looks like the answer is no. More mines are being set up in the center of the map, so sneaky move from Avi-Love, and the Lings don't get spotted. I think he just now saw a couple moving out, but
he doesn't
this
even
may...
have speed on these Vultures, though. And Lings with speed can totally demolish the Vultures that don't have speed now. kogeT does have a bunker behind this because he didn't get a starport, so he can afford it. It's only going to be Lings, though.
Yeah, but there's no defense really after that single mine goes down. Here comes Avi-Love with another attack. I think there's only 2 Marines in there. He's going to get a full surround on this bunker. So this bunker's gone. The Rax is lifted, or it's out of position. So this could be potential game-ending damage. Vultures are trying to come back. Nice SCV drill onto something. Oh, and that critically gets the barracks landed in time. Tank was about to pop out, and if that had gotten caught, for sure this game would have been over.
Well, there's a bunch of SVs running around in the middle of the map, and the Zerg behind this has double Evo with fully saturated natural and main. So even if kogeT stabilizes the situation, which he probably will,
He doesn't even realize that the SCVs are all over there. Okay, now he sent them back.
Yeah, well, this is a really tough spot. Vulture speed does finish, though, so they can micro against these lings, but you know, obviously the damage is done. Every single second that we're not mining from our natural, the Zerg is getting exponentially ahead. So, literally, even if these lings are trading extremely inefficiently, obviously, it doesn't matter. They're doing their job.
You know what I'm hoping to see with these leftover lings? Please burrow. Burrow in that natural. Show me burrow. And deny that command center from landing. But of course, there's no way Avi-Love would ever get that upgrade. Looks like this is going to be another double expand follow-up from him. He does have his lair done. Looks like that's probably going to be the Spire. He's got double evolution chamber going up, as you mentioned. And just like in all the previous games, kogeT doesn't really know what exactly the follow-up is. He's gotten scan in each of the games, and he ended up scanning for it. But this time, I don't think he has scan at all. Okay, that mine does not trigger. So he's really completely in the dark, trying to just figure out what's going on.
Yeah, now the Hydra's... I mean, the thing is, I don't think this is actually going to kill kogeT, because he's already making tanks. He already has a bunker. I feel like the double Evo chamber was almost... It was almost a bit overzealous here from Avi-Love. I mean, you can definitely do this, but the most standard play would just to get your Spire, you know. So if he got his Spire, this game would be over. I mean, he would have had a lot of time to kill these turrets with Mutalisks. The vessel does come out, but at 8 minutes and a bit, and there's no irradiate, so really his Mutalisks would have had a lot of time to do damage. But nonetheless, we are here, and I mean, Zerg is obviously in a really good spot. He's ahead in supply again. We were talking about how terrible that is for Terran to ever be behind in supply. Queens are already out, so yeah, I actually do like this from Avi-Love. He's in such a sick position now.
Yeah, so now the question is, how many queens do you end up building as Zerg? I think 7 would be a good number, because even if Terran ends up going into like 2 fact, like we've seen him do all day long, and he has like 12 factories or 12 tanks, you're still going to pop the majority of them. You don't want to have so many queens that they're just sitting around, you know, and there's not that many tanks, because then they're kind of useless. So unless he's going to use that for ensnare also, I think something like 7 would be good. You don't want to overdo it. Now we see that this is just 1 factory, 1 starport. Vessels are coming out. And as I mentioned earlier, Hydra Lurker versus 111 is a good comp to face 111. I'm surprised that kogeT actually decided to go for Vessel as opposed to going into 2 or 3 factory production.
Yeah, but you know, yeah, these queens, he does have the right amount though. You know, it's not overly committed onto the queens. He does have 6. This Vulture, though, is doing a lot of damage. You know, you don't really want to have your economy messed with like that. And we've seen already Avi-Love last game kind of lose from a pretty decent position. So definitely cannot write kogeT out of this game, because it has the same markings as last. You know, kogeT is down economically, but Terran can be extremely scary off of that sick 2-base push. And Avi-Love, he did make a lot of queens here, and like you were saying, Nayokin, the Hydra Lurker is, like, really, if Avi-Love just made a bunch of units, like, you'd probably crush this. He doesn't necessarily need to go queens, because he's so far ahead economically. But,
well, that Vulture did get a glimpse that queens were being built, so he feels obligated to move out, and the queen energy is already basically at 150, so this really should not work. And even though supplies are even, if he just instantly pops all the tanks, that's going to be 10 to 15 supply just instantly gone. And then again, it's going to be leftover just Marine Medic versus Hydra Lurker. I think Avi-Love is in a really good spot to just simply overrun kogeT again for the third game in a row in these early stages.
Yeah, but you know, the thing is, you need a lot of lurkers with this composition, because it's not just tank vessel, it's a lot of bio at this point. There's 5 racks behind this, and if your lurkers die and it ends up being just Hydras versus Marine Medic, you know, that trade is going to go really well for the Marine Medic. So that's the one drawback of having these queens, that those queens could easily have been more lurkers. He could have had like 20 lurkers.
Yeah, but he's about to sack one of these overlords to get broodlings off onto all of these tanks. You can see that the overlords are moving to the center of the map. Instantly, those queens have moved to the center of the map too. So this is going to be bye-bye tanks in just a fraction of a second. And Avi-Love is doing a really nice job just moving the lurkers constantly back, making sure that they don't take free tank damage. Looks like maybe 4 or 5 irradiates went off though, so all those lurkers should end up dying. But look at the supply still, 116 to 115. But as you mentioned, the lurker count is very, very low. Oh my god, that was the biggest mine I've ever seen! Hits 8 Hydras!
How is he going to deal with these Marines? Like, he's literally going to only have Hydras to deal with the Marines. I mean, maybe if he gets ensnared, that would be 6.
He does have
2-2. Yeah, he has 2-2. Okay, never mind. So actually, these Hydras are going to be really caught. But the thing is...
Oh, it didn't land!
Oh yeah, that happened last game. I thought it was a parasite, but...
Oh, he didn't land again!
Dude,
he focus fired it down!
That's crazy. I never knew that. Apparently... Okay, well, hold that. Lurkers are going to come in. They are going to burn on top of all the Marine Medic. And again, this is 2-2 versus 1-0 upgrade. So, you know, the Hydra Lurker composition here is going to be massive. And he's just going to completely smash this push. But again, Avi-Love is getting into the 3k minerals. He needs to start spending that. You know, he's not ahead in supply.
What is he doing?
Losing more lurkers. Again, it's going to be so hard for him to lose this game because he's so far ahead in the upgrade section. But I don't know, man. Avi-Love needs to just take a chill pill here and macro up. This is, you know, this is kind of looking throwy.
He's taking so much damage to those mines, and as you mentioned, he has 3,000 minerals banked up. I feel like this can't be the... Yeah, it has to be broken, because this looked way too strained to be attacking with 3 lurkers. So we are going into FP view now. This is kogeT's point of view. Looks like there are so many Hydras actually out for Avi-Love, and he manages to force a cancel onto that third base. And the game timer is 14 minutes, so still kogeT has a bit of time to mine his main and natural, but maybe only 3 or 4 minutes left. You can see how skimpy his tank count is on only 1 factory production, but he does have 4 vessels out, so he does have a lot of irradiates available. I wonder how many queens are actually still in Avi-Love's arsenal.
Yeah, well, in any case, does it really matter? I mean, Terran is on 2 base at this point. Zerg is on 4 with a bunch of upgrades. Hydra Lurker, so really he just needs to spend his money and win. But we'll see. I mean, pushing here, Terran is going to get some cost-effective trades. Just being set up already, and the radiate's going off. But it's going to be really hard for Terran at this point to take a third base. He is making a dropship, so that could be a possible option. Queen's flying around, gets picked off. Comes more irradiates on top of the queen. So, you know, kogeT definitely doing a good job, but yeah, scans that you don't like seeing that, that's for sure. And parasite onto the vessels as well, so that's really annoying. But to be honest, it's not that bad, because you know, it's not like he's going mech here. He already has medics. He just needs to research restoration. So would like to actually see him get that in this specific situation. But yeah, it's gonna be so hard for him to take the third base.
Yeah, so he is trying to land it now. Looks like there's going to be a small drop going to the main, just 4 Marines. I think that's just intended to draw the attention of Avi-Love away from this third base so he can actually get it up and running. The tank count is okay. It's at 6. I mean, what can you really expect off of 1 factory for so long? but double sunken in the main. Okay, so Avi-Love is just not messing around. There's no way that any potential drop shenanigans should deal any damage. Looks like the drop got intercepted at the top and taken out. And that was by Hydras, not by Scourge. So he had this huge clump of Hydras in the middle. He's got so many Hydras back at his natural that, again, he's trying to set up for a big flank into the center of the map. Looks like we're trying to get an eraser onto mid-right. But I don't think that that's really going to be successful for him.
Yeah, well, I mean, kogeT does have a sizable army here, but again, probably at this point, Avi-Love is making his way to 3-3 upgrades, and hopefully we get to see what the Terran upgrades are in a second. But yeah, I mean, it's surprising to me that kogeT is making this much progress. Like, the fact that he's been able to get his third up and running once again. Of course, yeah, the game is broken. You can clearly see that this is not what is actually happening.
But, both players are doing basically what you should do. kogeT's trying to slowly creep across the map, trying to trade it as effectively as possible. And Avi-Love has decided that now is the time. So many Hydras and Lurkers moving into the position. Looks like a lot of the Marines in the... There's just so many Hydras. Actually, so many Hydras. Avi-Love may even be maxed out. The vessels are going to start falling, and this is going to be kogeT getting absolutely slaughtered.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I was waiting for. Nayak and GG gets called by kogeT. And yeah, I was going to say, it's only a matter of time before the swarm comes in and devours the little Terran units, like in Starship Troopers.
Yeah, that was a movie you just recently watched, right? For those of you out there, remember last season, Gypsy was giving me nonsense for certain movies. Well, today, let me tell you, he watched, what was it? What's the name? American Psycho for the first time. That's right. How old are you? 27? He's never seen American Psycho.
28, dude.
28 even. Holy moly. You're getting to boomer status. 2 more years.
Yeah, thanks for those kind words. American Psycho is such a sick movie. I have some good, there's some good meme potential here, but I have to think about it. But anyway, I don't know. You gotta return some videotapes or something and start talking about the game.
Videotapes.
Yeah.
Oh man, I know you're a boomer now. You're talking about Blockbuster and stuff like that. But yeah, kogeT, this build this opening is really not working versus Avi-Love that well. And going into the series, I thought, okay, well, it's going to be Ultraman or Hydra Lurker Man. And I liked the 2-fact opener on the first 2 games, but this 1-1-1 kind of threw me off quite a bit. And I think kogeT should actually consider 8-raxing, especially if he picks, I don't know what the next map is, but if he picks like Overwatch, where again, you can wall off, I think 8 racks is a good potential build because Avi-Love is blind going 3-hatch. However, as I'm talking about it, Overwatch is a 2-player map, so of course he's going to get instantly scouted.
Yeah, I believe the next map is going to be Overwatch. Well, here's the thing. Right, there's 2 things.
Hit me with the thing.
One is, last game, we actually saw Avi-Love defend that push despite the fact that he had 2 or 3 queens not shoot. So apparently if the queen dies as the broodling is out, broodling doesn't actually connect. That's something that I never knew. Now, the other thing is, that happened 3 times, and he still smacked that push without the queen.
Yeah.
So, like, why are we making queens? You know, we could just make Hydra Lurker and just kill this guy. But the other thing is that 3-hatch before pool, let me tell you a secret, Nayokin. The reason we don't see it is because it's not good even versus 11 racks. You know, you can just walk a Marine across the map with an SCV, you kill 1 or 2 drones, you're already ahead. Force the sunken. Like, so really if kogeT just plays 11 racks normal build, I mean that, you know, 3-hatch before pool is probably just really good again. I mean, it's really good against factory opening though, that's for sure. Because most of the time, like the Marine, you want to like skip it for the factory, and then you want to, you know, you don't have the depot, second depot coming in to make more Marines. So in that case, yes, 3 hatch before pool is quite strong, and I think Avi-Love is just reading the fact that kogeT is going to go for those gas openings every game. Overwatch. Now this is a nice mech map.
Yeah, this is one of the maps that you can somewhat easily split, but all the games we've seen so far, I don't really think Terran's gotten into a good position. We saw TVP on here a couple times, I think, for TVT, but not TVZ just yet. So this is going to be our 4th map. Avi-Love 1 game away from knocking out one of the best Terran players that BSL has to offer. Let's see if he can do it. I would actually like 4 pool. I just want to mention that, but it looks like that's not going to be the case. In the top left, we have our blue Zerg looking to win 3-1. It is Avi-Love.
And kogeT in the bottom right as the red Terran up against the ropes. Has to win this game or he's out. Match 4 on Overwatch TVZ BSL11. Brought to you by Fabulous Zero, casted by Guy and Nye. Bombastic Starleague. It is what it is. You know.
No, I don't know. Tell me more. Tell me more, Gypsy. Well, I'll tell you what it is. It is. We do have the money for BSL12. Again, thank you guys so much for supporting BSL. Already hitting the BSL12 mark. What did we hit? We hit it on like day 2. Just ridiculous the support that we've gotten so far. And remember, all the extra money is probably going to go towards hosting other tournaments like the ladder tournament, or potentially going towards BSL 13. So if you're thinking like, oh well, they've already reached the goal, no, we will use it to go towards future BSLs too.
Yeah, and again, guys, we gotta. Okay, first of all, there's a wall here, so I'm gonna acknowledge what's going on in this game. Wall could mean a lot of things this time around, though. kogeT does not have a gas behind this. This is really annoying to deal with, but pretty standard. That is just a standard scout from the Zerg, but he cannot lose this SCV. And you can see code. Oh, it's gonna be so close that.
I thought that both sides may potentially lose their worker, and you saw that kogeT instantly pulled 2 SCV. Oh, okay, now we need to exit. You need to just I thought he pulled off. Oh, another jab. Got him right in his mouth, and that's gonna be a drone falling. So every game so far, Avi-Love has lost his early drone, but at least he got to see that there is no gas. So this is gonna be the first time that this looks like a standard opener. But as we know, delayed mech or delayed tech builds are more common these days. So this could be something like a 17-18 gas coming up for kogeT. Now this is interesting because this is going to be the first time it's going to be a 2-hatch opener from Avi-Love.
Yeah, looks like we're going back to the bread and butter. And this wall here is really nice from kogeT. He can do absolutely anything he wants behind this. Whether it's tech, whether it's 2 racks, whether it's eBay, factory. This is going to be a gas. Now this could literally be anything. I would still like to see even the eBay get thrown down. You know, maybe it's time we bust out the bio here, not the factory builds. Well, to be honest though, I mean, to be fair, kogeT has been playing bio every single game. Just elects to go for the tech first, which has been working out semi-okay, I would say. You know, last game he was kind of punished really early on. He was really far behind. That is going to be an eBay. So yeah, I do like this from kogeT because, especially given the fact that he has been opening only factory this series, Avi-Love might just be expecting it to be a factory opening. But the problem here is that eBay is, you know, it could get scouted by the Overlord, but most likely there's no reason for Avi-Love to really poke in. So this is going to be a nice +1 opening.
Oh, yes! Ooh. This is what I was waiting for. It's going to be Ling Lurker bust. And this is going to be really nice build counter to what kogeT's going for, because he's going to have a lack of units. He's going to have stim for sure, but I don't know if he'll have range. Obviously the +1 won't be kicking in, and Ling Lurker versus a wall is surprisingly good. Also, what's going to happen is more than likely kogeT's going to scan, and he may not actually have a secondary scan if he ends up scanning the natural also.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't think this is going to be a bust. It looks like he's droning up quite heavily and getting his second gas. I mean...
I think this is intended because the SCV is scouting it.
Oh, those were a couple lings that morphed. I mean, we'll have to see. You know, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I mean, you might be right about this knifing, but it might also just be a really fast third base, but it looks like he's not actually trying to take a third base, so yeah.
3 Marines and a medic. That is a very skimpy army. We see that the second and third barracks has started for kogeT. Now, what I like about Avi-Love taking the second gas now is that if kogeT was to scan that and see that there was no gas, 100% of the time it's lurkers. 100% of the time, no gas at the natural is lurkers. So now, if he scans there, of course he's going to see the gas, won't really be able to tell what it is. So because of that, he needs to scan the main. And now he does see that this is Hydra's. And this is... Oh, now, what was that? Is that a Spire?
For sure. Yeah,
that's a Spire follow-up.
No,
oh, no, this Queen's Nest. So this just going to be a Defiler Lurker attempted bust.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense now why he got the second gas so early and still got a decent amount of drones. So these early lurkers are going to keep the Terran contained. And, you know, when you scout this as Terran, I like, you know, the 2 bunkers are nice here. When you scout this as Terran, you just really want to put down your factory as soon as you can. Get your +1 range, and then, I mean, he already started all of those things. So now his factory should be going down. I think he just placed it. Oh, that one, it's going to go down. So that's a nice pick off for kogeT. And yeah, really in this situation, I mean, you know, Zerg has to win. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I mean, he has to win with the Defilers, right? Like, he's on 2 base. Terran just sits here, makes tanks, and holds. Like, but you know, you have to identify that this is coming.
Yeah, but Terran just started his factory. Okay, cannot let these Marines kill lurkers for free. He's gonna. Oh, that was a really good split. But unfortunately, as I stated, having the lack of barracks in the beginning means that there's really not that many Marines out now. I think there has to be some Marines in the bunker, right?
Yeah. No, he's definitely safe. He's not getting busted here, but...
No, he's not getting busted, but what I mean is Avi-Love safe?
Yeah, good point. I mean... yeah, I think he's going to be fine. I think we're actually just going to see this get into later. I mean, if kogeT somehow busts through this before the Filer comes out, it's possible, but this isn't...
Oh, no.
Lurker goes down, though. He can actually maybe attack. Okay, that was close. Those Lurkers are full health. The thing, you know what's nice about kogeT's build is he has +1 for sure. Yeah, so he can just go in and just absolutely snipe these Lurkers.
Yeah, and kogeT now recognizes his position. There's not that many lurkers out, and he definitely can get out onto the map. And he desperately needs to get out onto the map, because once 6 or 7 lurkers are set up, you're not getting out. That's just not a thing until tanks are out into your army. Now, kogeT is setting up to try and overwhelm this. There is a small hole at the bottom. That could be his opportunity. Now, let's say he doesn't get out. Something like 5 tanks can deal with the Filer lurker push. Sure, Dark Swarms are going to get down, but you can start popping lurkers as they move between the clouds. So, let's see. Does kogeT want to go for it? I think he may try and bait it.
He's stimming. Oh, okay. Well, now you kind of have... That's going to be 1 lurker. And, like, now... Those lurkers at the bottom
he just baited him.
Yeah, but the problem is the lurkers at the bottom are totally separated. So, you know, if I'm in kogeT's shoes, I'm looking at these 3 lurkers and I just go and kill them. Cannot lose this tank. It would hurt him so much. And yeah, he sees the opportunity. A small lag spike, though, unfortunately, and somehow does not quite get the engagement that you would want to. I feel like that was a hugely missed opportunity here. It looks like some lag is coming through. But the lurkers do not go down. And now the clock is ticking for kogeT. Oh my god, you hate to see this while you're playing, that's for sure. But
it's just like frozen lag, like actually just stutter lag. It's not even... Wow, look at this lag. Just... Oh my god, I'd be so angry if this was... Oh my gosh! That 1 lurker hit killed so many Marines.
You hate to see that one, yeah.
Oh, a dropship! That's not a vessel!
Yeah, that's... anything but a vessel is a high variance play here for Terran.
It's here. The
are
Defiler's
already out.
here.
Yeah.
The tank died too. So there's only one left. He has consumed. Is this over? There's no damage for kogeT. Luckily, the lag's going to help him here because he's going to be able to get his army set up.
I'm surprised they're just playing through this instead of pausing or something, but okay, we're going to keep going here. The Dark Swarm is out. Second Dark Swarm is going to be on top of that bunker. And without any Irradiate, without any siege tanks, I mean, sure, he has fire bats, but spoiler alert, they actually suck versus lurkers, especially if the lurkers are full health, so...
Well, there's only 3 lurkers now because he's lost so many of the lurkers, resituating those before kogeT moved out.
Well,
I don't know if he has siege mode either. Oh, look at this drop. He just goes right behind the lings and defilers and picks off some of the lings and defilers. He might be able to pop that one. Lurkers are getting into position, and as you mentioned, the firebat's not the greatest. Not enough DPS there. Only one of the lurkers ends up falling, and all of the firebats died.
Oh my god, dude, this is insane game. You know, you would expect Zerg to just straight up win in this situation, but it looks like there's, again, kind of Avi-Love's macros slipping up a bit. You know, he should have had a way more units stream into here and reinforce those lurkers, like you said, and so all of a sudden there's a glimmer of hope here for the Terran player because there's not that much steam behind this push from Zerg. And he finally has a couple of units between, you know, he has a couple of units out onto the map. A drop coming into 12 o'clock. These units are going to be able to reinforce or cut the Zerg reinforcements, but he doesn't actually scan. So those lurkers are going to pick off those Marines, and the natural is forced to lift. Never mind, dude. This is looking bad for Terran again.
Yeah, and that was like 6 lurkers that were moving across the map, but I don't know where they all went because I don't see any of them meeting up with these other 2 lurkers. There's still only 2 lurkers there. The third base is dying. What happened to the 6 lurkers that I saw being morphed?
Yeah, I don't know. They're somewhere.
They are somewhere. We don't know where though. It looks like that third base is going to be saved. And it looks like the answer is a couple went into the main to make sure that these drops don't do any damage. But at least the command center is lifted for kogeT. So Avi-Love is denying that for quite a while. Vessel count is starting to build up though. I think he's got 1. Should be getting a second one pretty soon. Looks like this small contingency army at the front is dealing way more damage than it should.
Damn, look at that firebat go. He's just racking up the kills. Soon he's going to be promoted from corporal to general after killing all those lings. And I mean, look at the drones mining there.
Oh my god.
JK, there are no drones mining. There's nothing to look at. So this is getting into some really, really interesting territory because honestly, both players are hurting tremendously. I think Avi-Love actually, the bulk of his mining is probably at his third at this point. I think he probably transferred a bunch of drones, but definitely mining no, never mind. He actually just doesn't have drones. He has very few drones. Oh my god. You know, he would actually be best served to pull some of the drones off gas to put them on minerals, but just looking at the supply, Terran is still doing fine. The problem is he needs to take his natural back, but as soon as Terran gets his natural and starts mining from both the main and the natural, Zerg's in a whole lot of trouble.
Yeah, look at that lurker, Heroic. He has 20 kills. But I still don't think it's enough because this drop should be able to just end this third base. And now kogeT is feeling solid enough to start moving out. Looks like this lurker repositioning will deny the drop for now. Scourge are trying to save the day and wipe out this dropship. And they do find a connection. And that was game saving for now. But kogeT's incoming attack, I still don't think Avi-Love can stop it.
Yeah, I mean, this is a big push coming in here from the Terran player, and you know, the thing is, he does have a Defiler mount, he does have Ultralisk then, he has 3 bases, so if he just sits around and replenishes his drone count, it is going to take a while though. It is going to take 2 to 3 rounds of pumping drones to really get his economy back online. It looks like kogeT, among that chaos, actually built a 3rd command center in his main and lifted it to 6 o'clock, so kogeT is going to go up to 3 bases, and really what was looking like a disaster situation for Terran has just flipped totally upside down. Now it's hard to imagine Terran losing from this position because Zerg's economy is just not where it needs to be.
Yeah, The Lurkers are trying to reposition it and deal with these Marines. Well, they're going to get a couple kills. What happened to those tanks? I don't see them in the army anymore. And with no tanks, Lurkers should be able to deal with it. First Ultra popping up, but now that's what you don't want to see. 0 upgrades on the Ultras. The lag is really something else this game. So we'll have to see if that can be fixed for our final game. Definitely you don't want to lose because of lag. But once +1 armor kicks in and once the secondary upgrade for the Ultras start kicking in, you know, Avi-Love does have gas available. If he can get up like 7 Ultras or so, they will be a force to be reckoned with. But looks like that eBay has been spinning for quite a while, so +2 weapon, I imagine, should be finishing pretty soon.
Damn, the eBay spins.
Blinking.
Yeah, but like you said, Naokin, Ultras are going to be nice here for Zerg, but the reality is, once you're on 3 base like this as Terran, you can go up to like 9 racks with just well-upgraded Marine Medic, and sure, the Ultras might plow through the first group, but subsequent groups are going to wear them down. It is, though, it looks like only +1 here for the Terran, so if somehow Zerg hits a Carapace spike, that would be insanely good for him. Darkstorm goes down. There's only 2 Ultralisks. Vessel is chilling. I'm gonna hit up that toxic gas soon, but for now, looks like kogeT is trying to maneuver towards the 12 o'clock. And yeah, I mean, Avi-Love just doesn't have units.
He does not get the Darkstorm off, and that's going to be one of the Ultras dying pretty much for 0 worth. Now he's going to take a bunch of damage too. More Ultras are trying to come through the top side of the map, but there's just not enough to deal with this amount of Marines and Medics at this point. The vessel count is really not that high. It's what, 2? Looks like battle cruisers are going to be in production for kogeT pretty soon. So if Avi-Love can stabilize the game, remember, he does still have 3 bases running. He still can come back. He does have double evolution chamber, but losing that Defiler was a big loss to him. Looking to see, oh, looks like there is a vulnerable, oh, I'm surprised he didn't go for it. It was only double bunker and a couple tanks. I think if you're not going to take that engagement, I don't really know what you're looking for.
Yeah, but it is hard versus bunkers because you can repair them, but this Ultras contingent here getting cut off. Though, of course, they're really fast, these cows. They just run. They're like Usain Bolt up in here. Just scooting away from the bio ball and trying to make something happen. But really, I mean, I think that was a physics lab there in kogeT's main. So it looks like kogeT is going to build a couple battlecruisers. And battlecruisers are exceptionally strong when Zerg is struggling economically, because now all of a sudden, off of these 3 bases that have been poorly saturated for a while, he's gonna have to find the gas to make Scourge while finding the larva to continue making Ultra Ling. It's just a really bad spot to be in as Zerg, and it looks like kogeT has made his way to the Zerg side of the map. Where's the Defiler, Naokin?
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say, is if there's a Defiler with this army, there's a Great Plague. He needs a Darkstorm, though, but that's going to at least soften up the majority of this bio ball. And that is a lot of Ultras. +2 weapon did kick in for the Terran player, though. I don't think +4 has kicked in for Zerg just yet. So definitely Zerg needs to be careful, but smartly kogeT's going to turn around, wait for that Plague to subside. Top right being taken. Remember, still not a lot of vessels now. There was battlecruiser add-on, but I don't see, well, it looks like maybe those slow units moving through the center of the map right now could be battlecruisers.
Yeah,
there they are.
You got a Hawkeye, Anakin, spotting those ones out. Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's kogeT's battlecruiser coming in to absolutely smash your economy. And it's going to be really hard to deal with these. You know, finally, though, Avi-Love is mining really well off of this base, but now he is going to have to sacrifice a couple of these drones to put down creep colonies to hopefully get spores out. Probably has to make a couple of Scourge, but really he's supply block. This engagement is going to be really good for Zerg, though. He has so many Ultralisks. They're not irradiated, so they're full health. They might even have an upgrade advantage, so they're just going to complete, no, 2-2, okay. Oh, they're actually down on upgrade, so this is going to be a good trade for the Marines, but not quite enough of a bio ball. You can see, finally, Zerg getting some counterplay here in this map, but you can see him walking across The bridge is even more red. All the drones at the third have gone down. kogeT did a good job of target firing those drones in the middle of that fight, but that did cost him his Marine group.
Yeah, but +4 should have kicked in. He wipes out this entire bio ball, and this is what I was talking about. Once the Zerg gets their upgrades, the Ultras can trade effectively. Imagine if there was a Defiler in this army.
Yeah.
These Ultras would be taking no damage. Instead, the battlecruisers drew a lot of the attention away from that Ultra comp, and the Ultras took a lot of excessive damage towards the end. Looks like kogeT is still feeling confident, though. He's already got bottom left up and running. He's starting to take mid right. But crucially, this hatchery at the top ended up surviving, so the third base is still going to be able to be mined effectively.
Yeah, I mean, this is still a rough spot for Zerg, without a doubt, especially after losing all those drones. Again, you can see the mining is just not quite there, and you know, in this stage of the game, because kogeT has so many bases, he is going to just continuously make Marine medic, and he will pressure all points of the map, so it's hard as Zerg to find that breathing space to make a round or two of drones. You kind of feel always pressured into making more units to cope with the Terran pressure, but these cows at the bottom left are going to force a lift off. So, you know, for us, I mean, this is a hard situation to be in as Zerg, because you really feel like you're in a bad position. You're always getting pressured. You know, Avi-Love feels like my economy isn't where it needs to be, but looking at Terran, it's not like he has too much either.
Is it Defiler?
Yeah, here comes the Defiler. Terran has this 6 o'clock base. If this stops mining and only mid-right is mining, all of a sudden this is not looking too great for Terran either.
Yeah, and this looks okay for the Zerg player. Now the BCs are still gonna wreak havoc on this natural. The top right base ended up falling. Remember, at top middle there are no sunkens, it's just spore colonies. So the Ultra is gonna be the only lined up defense. Looks like a couple more are popping out. I don't think +3 is done for the Marines, so they should trade about as effectively as possible. Avi-Love is bringing it back. Meanwhile, mid-right is up and running for kogeT, though, so he does have that available. Oh no, vessels are going to die too. So a bunch of missteps over and over from kogeT here.
I think he's done it, man.
I don't know.
Terran's
Those Ultras are heavily bruised. They are broke, but he needs, if he gets a Defiler to this mid-right army, I think he's done it.
There's
because
no
there's lack of vessels.
We made battlecruisers the whole time. They all died. We have no vessels. We're not mining anymore. It's just pure Marine medic against Ultras. That's not going to go well. I mean, there are 3 vessels, but they need to be out on the map irradiating the Ultralists. Now there's Ultras all over the map. I mean, Avi-Love is only on 3 bays.
He needs the Defiler. If there's a Defiler, I think this game ends. But I don't see a single Defiler anywhere.
I don't know. I think he just.
Oh, is that it trailing? Is that it trailing right there? Oh,
yeah.
It is! This might be game over. He has to irradiate this. Instead, he irradiates the Ultra, and that might have been a game-ending mistake. Dark Swarm goes up into the 5th base. The bunker is still not Dark Swarm just yet, so for now it's going to deal a lot of damage. But now that's a Dark Swarm, and this is going to be the 5th base denied. Meanwhile, bottom left has been resituated. Vultures with mines are going to at least deny Ultras and Lings from getting over there for now. But now Ultra is taking a lot of damage from the irradiate. But look at the supply. It's 110 to 110. These Ultras are heavily damaged, so they gotta be very careful. You cannot afford to lose these expensive units. And look how gas starved he is.
Oh, he's in the dumpster, Nyokin. kogeT is gonna have a hard time getting out of this one. And it's kind of insane too, because Zerg's just on 3 base. Like, Zerg never got a 4th base running, so it looks like Zerg can win this matchup even off of 3 base.
Well, Avi-Love's not out of the woodwork either. Oh, okay, there's a Defiler. Gotta get oh, crucial save right there. Even though it doesn't get on top of the Marines, at least he does allow, or at least force, units back from that ramp. More Ultralists coming from the top side. He needs to save that Ultralist because, as I said, he is gas starved. He has less than 100 gas. Cannot afford to lose Ultralist just for a couple Marines.
Dude, this hurts. It's not every day that you see +3 melee but +2 carapace. That's honestly a huge blunder, because these Marines with the upgrade advantage can actually deal with the Ultralists even without.
He's gonna get into the main. There's nothing here. There's battle cruisers, but sure, battle cruisers deal good damage, but they're slow. It's slow damage.
Yeah, I mean, this is obviously really bad for kogeT, because Zerg's about to get on top of his supply or his production. There's a Caterpillar running around in the middle of somewhere there too, but looks like battle cruisers still getting pumped. This game's all over the place. Dark Swarm gets cast. that is going to buy a lot of time for, for the Ultras to get back into position. That one Irradiate pops both those cows, mad cow disease going on up in here, and now Avi-Love is pushing up this ramp again. The missing Carapace upgrade is really hurting him. Like this Ultralisk, if it dies, it's 100% because it doesn't have Carapace. It's still gonna clean up these, but it might. Okay, it's not gonna die in the SCV, that's for sure. It was awfully close, and now, I mean, this is, you don't see this.
Oh my gosh. Avi-Love has so many minerals, but he doesn't have any gas.
Dude,
more lanes are going to try it.
Die.
It's still alive. It's got 12 kills. SCVs can't kill it, even with what multiple SCVs surrounding it. It's still alive. Looks like battle cruisers took out top right. I don't think. Yeah, they are wreaking havoc there. But Avi-Love, he desperately needs to get another gas base. He's depleted in the main, in the natural. The third base is also probably depleted pretty soon. This is a crazy game. Supplies are 70 to 70 now. There's no answer to the battle cruisers. There's absolutely no answer to it.
Yeah, but I mean, the answer is
there's no medic.
3K minerals banked up. So like, even if Avi-Love looks like he's struggling to get that base up, the reality is his econ's healthy. He's got a huge bank to work with. Just needs to wait for the gas to come in. He can start just building hatcheries all over the place. Those two battle cruisers are annoying, but you know, once Terran gets broken like this and like starts losing tempo, it's just so incredibly hard to regain it in late game TVZ. So
he's done it.
Yeah, Avi-Love coming in here with the +2 Carapace upgrade.
Oh, goodbye, CC. That CC died pretty fast. That or looked like it was gonna die pretty fast. Yeah, GG coming out from kogeT and Avi-Love. Who I thought would not be able to take out somebody like kogeT, he ends up smashing him, not with just Hydra Lurker, but also with a Lurker Defiler play. And then in one of the most hectic games you're probably ever going to see in BSL, he manages to salvage the game in what looked like an unwinnable position.
Yeah, sick performance there from Avi-Love, and I do, if I can permit myself to say this, I think you're a bit of a hater, Nyokin.
Me?
Yeah, Avi-Love just proved you wrong. Proved most of the chat wrong, probably. And he is going to make it through to the semis.